All right. All right, everybody. What's going on? We are live. It's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. And y'all already know what time it is. I'm not going to waste any time because we got a guest that I've been trying to get on here forever. And I'm glad he finally came through for me. He's going to show up. I got some things I want to ask him. So I'm not going to waste his time or your guys' time anymore. I'm going to bring him in. Former Florida State fullback, former national champion, Mr. Freddie Stevenson himself.
What's up? What's up?
Freddie, how you doing, man? I'm glad to have you, man.
Man, I'm good. I appreciate you having me on. I know I look back at the DMs, I'm like, dang, he been trying to get me for a minute. So once I saw it, I was like, I gotta hop on. And he from
I've been
Polk, gotta
shooting my
show
shot.
love.
I've been shooting my shot, man. I've been trying to get you on here, but man, I'm glad you're here. Two Polk County natives. I'm from Lakeland. You're from Bartow, so I'm glad to hear. Before we get started, I want you to tell us about. You have a book, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Trials of
And I
Triumph.
want you to tell us about it. Tell us Florida State, tell the Seminole family, let everybody know about this because I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna get this book. I want to read your story, and I know all my followers in the chat want to hear your story too. So by all means, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it just talks about my journey to Florida State, overcoming the obstacles that I overcame, overcoming homelessness, poverty, and just a lot of different adversity type of adversities that on my way to getting to Florida State. Injuries that I had a major injury my junior season of high school with no offers that they told me was career ending, and overcoming that and going through that rehabilitation process and talking about the journey at Florida State coming in as a linebacker, one of the top 15 linebackers in the country, and then getting moved over to fullback. And it was tough for me early on making that transition, but ultimately I believe it was the best for me because when you look back at that injury that I had, adding that weight that I added, I don't think my will knew how to handle that weight, and it cost me. You'll read a little bit more about that in the book. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, just my journey at Florida State and a lot of different things behind the scenes that you guys didn't know that were taking place, and ultimately me accomplishing my goal that I set for myself early on as a kid, making it to the NFL. Got to do that, playing preseason games, and then my dream ended sooner than I wanted it to end, and just finding myself scrambling, trying to figure out what was next for me in life and what my purpose was. Went down the dark road, almost lost myself, got caught up in some things that I'm not proud of, and it almost cost me my freedom. But in the midst of that, I found purpose, and it's a beautiful story, and it's been making its waves lately across the world. And I'm just happy to be here. So that's my story, and I hope y'all dig into it.
That's awesome, man. Where can we find it? Where can we buy it or download it or how do we go about getting it?
I know Amazon has been the hot commodity for people, but I got a website that it's called trialstotriumphbook.com where people can gain access to it on Barnes and Noble, Amazon. I know everybody has their own different preferences, and then they'll have the option to get a personalized copy or buy the book in bulk. I know some teachers and coaches have been buying it in bulk. So if you want to go on my website and check it out, that's an alternative as well.
What's that website again? I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna so everybody can see it. What's that website?
Trials to
Okay.
triumphbook.com.
Book trials to triumph book.com.
Yep, yep.
All right. So you guys go to that website and support our Noel, man. Support our Noel. So that's dope because I really want to read your story, man. Man, I just lost you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wow, that's never happened before, and all of a sudden I lost connection. Sorry about that, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was making sure it wasn't on my end. So, all right, we're good.
It was on my end. It was on my end, but we're good now. All right, where I left off at. I was saying I did. I remember you being coming to Florida State as a linebacker, and switching to fullback and all that. So I'll be very interested to hear your story and just see how that all played out for you. So
Yeah,
I want
without
to
a
get.
doubt, it was definitely a process.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Now it was definitely a weird process, and I remember going back and forth about that. But I'm a team guy, so ultimately I wanted to have success, and being a part of something special meant more to me. And once my legs started giving me issues, I just put myself in a situation where I I wanted to see the team succeed. And ultimately, yeah, you want to. At first, it was a battle because I came out of as a linebacker, so like, man, I don't know about fullback. Nobody's using them anymore. But then once I was
Right.
able to go on and have a little bit of success at the fullback position with the athleticism that I knew I had, so all right, I can make something out of this. I may not be in the limelight all the time, which is cool because I was always the guy that wanted to see like the other weapons utilized as well. So your Travis Rudolph, your Bobo Wilson, your Kermit Whitfield. So I didn't necessarily care about getting all the praise. And it was a journey for me at first because I didn't know how to block. And if anybody that was around, like, man, Freddie sucked that fullback when he came in. So and like y'all see what took place. Like I became a pretty decent fullback, pretty solid fullback while I was there, but I sucked. I came in and I remember telling them, I was like, man, listen, y'all switching me from linebacker to fullback, and that's cool, but fullbacks don't get used. So I'm gonna have to get used a lot more than fullbacks get used normally for me to make this switch, or I'm not making it. And early on, I was just a guy that wanted the ball in my hands. Like Jimbo, that's why I remember him recruit me out of high school. He was always saying how I should get like 10 touches a game. So it was weird because we would go back and forth with him because I did have offers coming out of high school, and we wanted to make sure that my offer was at linebacker. We were like, Jimbo, what's going on, man? Like, you're not finna play with my position when I get to state, are you? He's like, nah, you're a linebacker. So I come in and he makes that switch. And I'm like, all right, they don't use fullbacks. And I'm not a selfish guy, but I'm like, man, they don't use fullbacks. So if I'm gonna play fullback, all right, I want to see other people see, but I know I'm gonna have to get the ball and show what I can do too for me to have a chance to make it to the next level. So early on, they got me the ball and they saw what I can do, but I didn't know how to block. So that transition into becoming a complete fullback, that was a process. And just hearing that story it'll be interesting for y'all to learn because it was a fight for me, and I was getting better, but it was just mentally a fight because that fullback position, like you said, it's tough, and a lot of people don't truly understand
Yeah.
what goes into the fullback position. It's a lot more difficult position than people give it credit for.
Yeah. Jimbo was probably the only one in college football using one
Yeah, and I
that I, that
appreciate
I, that
that
I can
too.
think of. That I can think of. Maybe Nick Saban at that time was using them too because they were very run heavy at Alabama. But who helped you with that? I mean, if it's not giving away too much, if it's in the book, you don't have to answer this. But who helped you with that transition? Was it a Chad Abrams or other guys like that?
Yeah, Chad, without a doubt. Chad took me under his wing. If I didn't have Chad, man, it would have been tough for me. And he was a guy that got his position switched as well.
Yeah, I
So he
remember
was
he
like,
was a safety.
and tell me, like, listen, man, they switched my position and I was able to have success. And he got his position switched and he had to sit behind Lundy. So you got
Yep.
to understand the type of battle I'm sure he faced over the years, having his position switched from defense to offense, and he has to sit behind Lundy prior all these years. So I know it was a tough fight for him. Me, I know worst case scenario, I'm only sitting out 1 year to wait for Chad to leave.
Yeah.
So just getting his coaching, it helped out a lot. He had a lot of free game to give me. And Lundy came. I remember Lundy coming back. Lundy always showed love. That's why I always show love to Lundy whenever I get opportunity. Lundy's a legend. Perfect. I think that's his own Twitter handle, and it's perfect for him. But Lundy's down to earth. I remember him coming back the first year I was playing the position, and this was like I'm in the fire, and I'm still truly learning. Each game I'm evolving, I'm getting better. But I remember Lundy talking to me. He sat down and talked to me like, man, Jimbo's high on you. He loves you. Like, I love the progress that you made this year. And Lundy just give me some words of encouragement, because I know Jimbo them felt like I was kind of fighting it early on. I didn't truly buy into it, because at the end of the day, when I was having some success, you still look at it like, man, listen, my goal is to get to the NFL, and not a lot of teams are using it. So
Yep.
having Lundy come back and talk with me and some of those older guys, it helped a bit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of Jimbo, Coach Jimbo, what's your thoughts on the state of Florida State right now?
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough, and I think it looks like it's early to say, but it looks like we're starting to get some guys from the outside looking in, which is surprising. Recruits are buying in sooner than I expected. I thought it would have taken us to get some wins on the field, but guys are buying in after we had a 3-6 season. But it just has to translate to wins. It's been a tough past few years. We were left in a bad spot after he left, and to be honest, when he was heading out, it wasn't looking good. So
Right.
just building back that culture and getting back to that standard of Florida State football is really going to be the toughest task. You can get all these different recruits, but if we're not out there winning games, it doesn't matter. It looks like we're heading back into the on the right track in the recruiting trail, but if it doesn't translate to wins, it doesn't matter. So we'll see where it goes. This off season is giving you a little bit of optimism as far as where we're going, but we got to get some wins. I know the past few years we've been losing to Florida, Miami, and Clemson every single year, and
Yeah,
we can't have that again this year. We got to get at least one of those games. We can have another season where we're losing to all three teams in orange.
I agree. But speaking of, because you touched on it, so I want to touch on it a little bit. Where'd the downward trend start? Because you said it wasn't even looking good at the end of Jimbo's tenure. Did it start while you were there, or you while you were there? Maybe the year you graduated, somewhere around that time. You graduated in 16.
Yeah, 16 was my last year.
Yeah. So, did you see it? Was it like starting to? Could you see some turmoil, or like were there signs that this thing was headed in the wrong direction from somebody that was actually in the program, in the locker room?
Yeah, I knew we were heading in the wrong direction, but we had talent, so he was just like, man, I hope it clicks for these guys at some point. We know we had talent, but a lot of our leaders were leaving, so it's like, man, we don't know what these dudes are gonna do when we leave, and a lot of those guys is like, you don't know if they're gonna step up and take that leadership role. Some guys it clicks with them, and some guys it never clicks for them. So we saw a lot of guys. I remember when Fall kept and they had to do the yellow brick road thing. I don't know if you know about that story. Like,
let us know.
Guys just weren't motivated to practice, which Fall kept it happens. A lot of guys, they haven't been through this grind, and it's mentally draining on them. And they had to do the yellow brick road, the Wizard of Oz thing, to just let guys know, like, control what you control and keep going. Like, just keep going. Do what you can do today. And we had to do some weird stuff. I remember signing contracts, say they were gonna give effort. I think after the North Carolina game, like it was bad. I'm like, look,
I remember hearing about that.
Listen, we at Florida State University. This is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And we gotta beg people to give effort. So I'm like, man, listen, we got a lot of entitled guys coming up behind us. We were trying to coach them up and do the best that we could, and some of them it registered with, some of them it didn't. It was just you hope that after we left and they no longer had those older guys to look up to, that they would take that step. But after we left, it's like a lot of guys never took that step, and ultimately you had a team full of talent with no leadership. And then you have to bring in the coaching situation and the uncertainty every year, and that just everything. It was just a bad situation.
Absolutely. So basically, in a nutshell, to me, it just sounds like on your way out, you could tell that there was no leaders to take that mantle, and you just didn't see any of the younger guys. Was it that they didn't know how to lead, they weren't willing to lead, or
you got some guys that don't know how to lead, they're going to do everything right. They're just not going to take that leadership role. They're going to lead
Right.
by example. And then you got some guys that are your top guys, and they have no interest in being a leader. They just want to go out there and play. But those can be some of your biggest cancers as well. And so we had a combination of everything, and we saw it all play out. And once DeAndre Francois got that injury against Alabama, that's when you've seen everything go downhill.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you so this past season you mentioned that we went 3-6. What do you think? What do you think is the major problem with the team now, the current team? Do you think it's a player thing? Do you think it's a coach thing? Is it a combination of both?
I think it was a combination of both. You got a lot of guys. I was never in that situation, but I can only imagine how it'd be if you got all these different coaches over a combination of a few years. I wouldn't trust anybody. Let's just keep it real. Like man, you're gonna be out here a year, or I'm gonna be loyal to a certain guy and not want to hear anything somebody else says. And then also, if a coach comes in and rubs you the wrong way or says something that you're not really with, then all right, you're already starting off on bad terms. So now you're never able to get over that because of the issues that have transpired over the past few years. So you got guys that have talent and they're not buying in because this coach, they don't trust them. They don't want to trust them, and they're doing their own thing. And it's just a combination of a lot of different things. That's why I've seen it over the past few weeks. You see guys going out at, I saw it on Twitter. I guess it was a big rave about guys going out at these All-Star games. They were balling. They're like, man, where was this at when they played? Like, man, y'all don't understand. Like, when guys are going out there and they're questioning what they're being coached on, yeah, you're gonna do your job, but then if you got a little hesitation in your game, that kills your game. So now guys are going out to these All-Star games. It's like they get a fresh slate. They get and they get to start over. So you understand it. You understand it as a player, and I've never had to deal with it, but I know what it can do because I was in a toxic environment in high school. We never went to the playoffs. We went in three, 4 games a season. So a lot of people looking at it as, oh, ball is gonna ball, but no, like everybody not built like that. Of course, I went on. I did my thing. I control what I control, but I had just as many talented players as me that they would be limited if they felt like, all right, coach is trying to screw me over, and they would mentally throw off their whole entire game. Everybody doesn't operate the same mentally, so these factors can affect your team in different ways. So I know that played a role, and we'll see where it goes this year. Just having a new slate and guys getting around the coaching staff a little bit more. So we'll see what direction they're taking in, and hopefully we got some leaders that stepped up.
That's a good point you made. Do you think that how do I word it without trying to, like, I guess, offend? Do you think Coach Norvell was forcing people out the door? Because we saw a lot of transfers. I mean, FSU had a ton of transfers this year. Do you think kids just left the program and didn't want to be there? Or do you think Coach Norvell was basically saying, you guys just don't quite fit what we're trying to do here? Because I've heard both sides.
Yeah, I don't know. I know when only thing I can go back to is, again, high school is when we had a new coach come in and he was trying to prove himself like early on, just like to let everybody know he was enforcing to get his respect. So I do feel like that is how Norvell came in, like get his respect type of situation, and let guys know, like, all right, I'm not coming here to play games, and this is a situation. And yeah, maybe some guys did get forced out of the door. I wouldn't doubt it. And on the flip side, I do believe that some guys just from day
just
one,
checked out.
They probably never gave him a chance. And I know that was a situation when in high school when we didn't. We had a new coach. Guys just didn't want to give him a chance. I remember guys leaving the team. Some of my best players, they left. They're like, man, this ain't my coach. And then you got some guys, they just all they know is ball, so they just gonna give it a shot. But on the flip side, the coach would do some things like, yo, you tripping, like you got to earn these guys' trust. And I think there are some ways he could have went about it differently. Like, of course, you want to let them know that you mean business, but you got to understand coming in too that a lot of these guys got trust issues, so you got to earn their trust.
Absolutely. So to that point, if you could, first of all, do you have any contact with the current FSU staff? Do you talk to the players or any of the players there or any of the coaches there at all?
No, not really. A lot of. I mean, a few of the players I played with are still on the team, so yeah, a little bit, but not really the staff. I don't really know many of them outside of Odell.
Okay. So if you could, one day out the blue, Coach Norvell calls up Freddie and says, I need some advice. What advice would you think, being that you were at Florida State at a time when we were succeeding at some of the highest levels, what would be a piece of advice to give Coach Norvell, who, quite frankly, if we're being honest, I mean, he's coming from Memphis. This is the most eyes he's ever had on him.
Mm-hmm. I would say my biggest thing, just from the outside looking in, I feel like he kind of came in trying to prove a point. You ain't gotta do that. Just be you. Like, you got this job for a reason. Like, I would assume you. So that same culture you built at Memphis, do that same thing. Be yourself. And when you hear the players that play for him at Memphis talk about him, they love him.
They did. They loved him. Yeah.
So just come in being yourself. I think coming in early, he was thinking about the fact, and you hear the noise, and some coaches allow that to get to them, that we have culture issues, have character issues on the team, and you come in and first day you're like, man, I'm not going to allow that to happen while I'm here. Versus just coming in being you, and whatever plays itself out. Because you're going to set the standard high, and guys that can't live up to that standard, they'll weed themselves out eventually. Versus you trying to overdo it and then ruffling some feathers along the way. Just be you, and the guys gravitate towards you. Some guys won't like it, but it is what it is. You can't please everybody.
Right. So let's get to something more positive. Your former teammate of yours, Nate Andrews, he's currently on FSU staff.
Mm-hmm.
Is coaching something that you ever considered? Coach Freddie Stevenson, is we ever gonna see something like that?
Nah, I don't think I'm gonna be a coach. It's not my passion. I've always known it, and I know a lot of coaches that I've played under. They always thought I should take that route just because of my knowledge for the game, but it just isn't a passion of mine. Nate, I knew Nate was gonna be a coach when we were playing. You knew Nate was gonna be a coach. And it's not a passion of mine. I'm passionate about what I'm doing now, and that's impacting lives in the community. So
awesome.
And I'm always tap in with my nose in sports in some aspect, but coaching has just never been my passion.
So you just touched on it. So let's get to it. What can we expect from Freddie Stevenson in the future? Like, what should we be on the lookout from you? Like, I follow you on Twitter, so I see the things that you do. So I'm excited to know.
You know, I've been lately, usually, and you follow me on Twitter, so I do a lot of talking on Twitter.
Yeah.
And now you just been seeing me post motivational stuff, and anybody that's followed me, they're like, man, they'll probably be like, man, this ain't like usual Freddie. Freddie, you can't get him to shut up on the internet. So we got some stuff in the building itself up right now. And I'm kind of trying to hold back on that. I've been quiet, just setting everything up, and part of it is because in the past, I don't want to say I'm superstitious, but in the past I've spoken out on things before they happen. But it's some big moves we got in motion, and once we put pen to paper, we're gonna make some big moves, and it's all been building off of my story. It's been crazy that I've been able to get it out there. And the craziest part about it is it's had the opportunity to make it across the world. And I didn't have any PR, marketing. Everything was been me just hustling, grinding, pushing it myself.
I see you tweet LeBron every day.
Listen,
for that retweet.
I tweet LeBron every day.
Every day.
I tweet him every day. And here's the thing. I tweet him every day. And uninterrupted, that's his brand.
Yeah.
The uninterrupted thing. They followed me. They shared the post, and I was tweeting uninterrupted in LeBron. So they followed it. I was like, listen, y'all don't understand. It's only a matter of time. That's him and Maverick Carter's thing. It's only a matter of time before he shared. And my whole concept behind it is, my whole way of thinking even if LeBron don't share it, y'all just got to understand it may hit somebody else in the process of me trying to get it to LeBron. So it's a whole strategy, and I do believe only a matter of time he's gonna see it and share it. And the only reason I'm tagging LeBron specifically is because he comes from the same type of environment, and I love what he's done with his story. So that's the whole thought process behind it. And in the process of me tagging LeBron, you may not see them other people interacting on it, but they sending me emails and DMs.
That's dope. That's awesome. Where can people? Is there a place other than not even other? Drop your Twitter. Is there like a platform? I know you used to do a podcast. I don't know if you still do that or not.
Yeah, I don't do the podcast no more.
Okay. So where can people find you though if they want to follow your story and go and be along with you on this journey?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter at StruggleMade105. I don't really use LinkedIn, but yeah, those are my major platforms that I use. Follow me on those platforms, kind of get a feel for what I do on a daily basis. Instagram story, I show my daily grind, working out. I'm grinding to 1 or 2 times a day, depending how I'm feeling that day. Then I go on, and after that, you'll see quote. You got my quotes, and we just trying to motivate the world right now. So yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram to get a feel for my story. And my biggest thing is I don't have an issue with showing people where I came from. Like when I was down, the struggle, the grind, because when they see where I've come, like I told you, some big moves in motion, they're gonna know that it was some real work put into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Honestly, Freddie, man, I just appreciate you for showing up. That's really all I got for you. Like I said, I've been trying to get you on here for, I don't know, at least a couple months. You finally, came in for me, and I appreciate you. I really do. I know all the Seminoles appreciate you. And I really don't have anything else, man, unless you got something else you want to say. Or I don't want to keep you too long, So
yeah. Well, I just want to say I appreciate you for reaching out to me. This one been fun. You never truly know how it's gonna be when you come on, but yeah, I love the energy, man. And anytime you need me back on, hit me up.
Man.
Listen. Don't never let nobody tell you Freddie gonna be, because I ain't the Hollywood type of person. I'm down to earth. I don't deal with people based off status. I deal with people based off character. So just the energy that I've gotten and I received from you is real. So anytime you need me, hit me up.
Hey, I appreciate that, brother. I really do. Hey, give it up, man. This was Freddie Stevenson, former FSU fullback, and former national champion. Am I right on that? You were on that national championship. You were freshman on that team, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. But I thank you, man. I really do, man. And I will definitely be in contact with you some more.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you, Freddie. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
You have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. All right, guys. I didn't want to keep him too long, but that was our interview with Freddie Stevenson. If you missed it, I'm sorry. Green Bay, I don't know how you missed it. Step your game up. Step your game up. We over here, 863 Seminole TV, and I just had Freddie Stevenson on. I thought it was a pretty solid interview, man. Definitely. I got the Trials to Triumph book, man. I'm about to cop it tonight, actually. Go cop you that book. Support Freddie Stevenson. Go follow him on Twitter. Go follow him on, didn't he say Instagram? Go follow him on all those platforms, man. I follow him on Twitter. He posts good stuff, and I'm interested to see where his journey concludes. So now we're going to get in. Now that we're done with the big event, I want to talk about Sam McCall. But before I get into Sam McCall, the Tribe 2022, and this recruiting stuff, because I haven't given y'all my take on any of this stuff. We've done a week of content. I posted a highlight video every day this week. But now I want to give my thoughts on some of this stuff. But before I do all of that, the chat's booming. So we got to do a roll call because I didn't want to waste Freddie's time. So we're going to hit this roll call up. And then we're going to get into our topic of the day. Hit the like button. 38 people in the chat, baby. Noel Squad, Wayne, Tillman, Peter Shields, Antonio Dupree, Jose Garcia, Tyler, Terrence, Jalen. Haven't seen you in a minute, Jalen. How have you been, man? My young man, Jalen. Peanut Butter Hero. We did have a tsunami warning today. Yeah, that didn't happen. Apparently, there was 8.0 hurricane, 8.0 earthquake somewhere. And we were under tsunami watch or some crazy stuff. Island Boy. Jen, Serve, Irv. Look at that. I got it right. Jen, Serve, Irv. 904. Ray Fitty. Mayan King. Montre. Todd. Kane. Zay. No Productions. Jerd. Aiden. John Shields. Man, we got Miami Flow. What's going on? We got everybody in the building, man. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the 863 tribe. All right. We hit the roll call. So we interviewed with Freddie. Got his little bit of his insight of what's going on at Florida State. And as you see where it kind of started. And like Freddie said, man, it started kind of at the end of his tenure. There, he could kind of see it on his way out that Florida State was headed in the wrong direction. But that ain't what we're here to talk about. Shout out to Freddie, man. I'm definitely going to have him on here again. Sam McCall. Boom. Did anybody see this? Did anybody see Sam McCall, the commitment of Sam McCall coming? Because I damn sure didn't. And I know for a fact that all them other platforms out there didn't see this one coming. Sam McCall just sent ripples through the college football world. What is Norvell and company cooking over there? What are they selling these kids that you can win 3 games in a season? Now, we know Travis Hunter, man. If you don't follow that kid on Twitter or Instagram, I mean, he just tweeted again. Yes, the kid's said he's 100%, 125% locked in. I don't care what anybody says. Travis Hunter's not going anywhere. But that Sam McCall pickup, how did that happen? We're not even talking about the player. If you want to know my thoughts on the player, man, go watch the highlight tape I did of him. Smooth, very fluid athlete. He looks effortless on the field. When I watch a Sam McCall, nothing looks. It doesn't look like he's giving effort, but that's not in a bad way. You know how you watch a guy and he looks lackadaisical? Well, that ain't this. He's moving across the field in a way that you're like, it doesn't look like he's trying, but he's just better. He's just half the time, he's just better than everybody on the field. Oh, he plays offense and defense. Travis Hunter plays offense and defense. Go watch that Quincy McAdoo tape. They play him on offensive defense. Aaron Hester plays running back and defense. Do you sense a trend here with Tribe 2022? They signing a lot of versatile kids who can play both sides of the ball, man. And Sam McCall, obviously, he's the gem of all of that. I mean, Travis Hunter, we know what he is. He's locked in. But Sam just shocked all of Seminole Nation. I was out on a Sunday. Couldn't believe when I saw the tweet. I was like, what? When he decommitted, it was between South Carolina. If you don't know, Dan Mullen fired the D-back coach, who was Sam McCall's primary recruiter and the guy that Sam McCall had a great relationship with. His name slips me right now. So if anybody knows his name, you could definitely put it in the chat. But his name slips me right now. I'd have to go look it up, and I don't feel like it. But he was his primary recruiter. He goes to South Carolina. Bam, South Carolina's in the mix. When Sam McCall decommitted about a month ago from Florida, FSU wasn't even in the conversation, folks. It was Bama, South Carolina, and UF was there, but only because. The UF ship is sailed, guys. He's not going back to UF. He's not going back to UF. It was South Carolina, Bama. And I thought there's no way in the hell. I don't care how great a relationship he has with that coach. Bama's not losing a recruiting battle to South Carolina, especially not for a Florida kid. And a kid who I know his family has ties to Alabama. I don't know if Sam McCall is originally from Alabama, but I know his family is from that area, from Alabama. His Twitter handle is what? Alabama boy or Bama boy or whatever it is. He's from there. To me, he was Alabama all the way. And last Sunday, he drops the bombshell. Not only did he drop a bombshell, he was in the locker room when he committed. Brendan Gant put on his Instagram. He put it on his Instagram. They was in the locker room hanging out when the man committed. How does Florida State pull that off? How does Florida State pull that off? Shout out to Mike Norvell. Shout out to Coach Woods and Mike Norvell. I'll even give a shout out to the guy who I've been calling for his job, Adam Fuller. Shout out to those because they're recruiting, and they're recruiting at a, I don't know if elite's the word, but I told you guys 2 months ago, class of 2022 has a chance to not just be good. Class of 2022 has a chance to completely flip the script. If we're talking about getting to a national championship level, this class will be the catalyst. This class will make or break Mike Norvell. And he's off to a damn good start. And he still has Marvin Jones Jr. to go. Armelia is still on the books. And he's got a ton of talent. And if we do what we're supposed to do on the field, I'm telling you, man. It's a good reason to be excited if you are a Seminole. If you're a Seminole, man, you should be excited. Now, let's get to the big elephant in the room. You got to hold on to him. You start losing game, Listen, I'm going to say this about Sam because I listened to Sam McCall's. He did a recent interview with somebody. I forget. He was at a 7-on-7 and I listened to it. He said the reason he picked Florida State's giving him a chance to play both offense and defense. And that's fair. I'm about to hit Florida State fans with some reality right now, and they're not going to want to hear this. This is not only for Sam McCall, this is for Travis Hunter too. They may dial up plays here or there, but if these kids want to maximize their dollars, they want to maximize what they're worth to the league, to the NFL, they will not be playing two sides of the ball. It's just not going to happen. The league is not what it was, 20 years ago, let alone now. What I mean by that, the league teams look for specialists. You have to specialize in an area. They don't want a guy who's good at corner, good at wide receiver. That might work in high school, maybe in college. They want a guy who's elite at corner, elite at wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. Travis Hunter, Sam McCall, they can get drafted if they play both sides of the ball. But Jalen Ramsey was a number 4 overall pick as a corner. If Travis Hunter wants to be that, he has to play cornerback. Maybe return kicks. That's it. He can't be a wide receiver too. No, he has to specialize, be elite in an area. That's just the way it is. If Sam McCall wants to be a first-round pick, whether it's safety, corner, wherever he wants to play, maybe he's better at receiver, Sam McCall. I think Sam McCall's place is on the defense as well. But he has to pick a side, and he has to be elite at that side. I know Florida State fans, I know we want to imagine, in this fantasy world that we want to say, man, Travis Hunter can play both sides of the ball. He can play 20 snaps at receiver and 100 snaps or whatever. We want to just act like these kids. This kid can be, and I get it. He's the best player in high school to me. The offense. I said it all the time. He's the only player in high school who's the best offensive player and defensive player every time he's on the field. But he has to pick a side. Now, we can debate. Some people think he's an elite wide receiver and that he's a better wide receiver. Some people think he's a better defensive back. Me personally, I think his money's on DB, corner. He has the size, the length, and he's a freak athlete. And quite frankly, your corners usually are the freakiest athletes on the field because they have to be, because defense has to react, especially at that corner position. You're constantly reacting to what another player does, especially if they're going to play you as a man lockdown corner. He has to have that athleticism to, if he does make a mistake in one-on-one coverage, to make up for the mistake. And I believe that's where his future lies. Sam McCall, watching his tape, they're both special with the balls in their hand, guys. Don't get me wrong. Something about Sam McCall, I think they're talking about him DB as well. Something about Sam McCall, I feel like he might be better on offense. I don't know, though, because I can see him at safety. But the whole point of this little rant, it's not really a rant, but it's just some truth, because you know me. I call myself the goddamn truth for a reason, because this is what I do. The facts are, these guys are not going to, they're good enough athletes, they'll get drafted. Travis Hunter, Sam McCall, and even some of these other guys, Quincy McAdoo, go watch his tape. They got that guy playing. They got Quincy McAdoo over there. Now, it's Arkansas, so I don't know the level of talent at Arkansas. But they got Quincy McAdoo rushing the passer, playing safety, playing corner, playing running back, and wide receiver. And somehow he dropped to a 3-star. Blows the hell out of me. With that said, all these kids are good enough athletes. We're mainly speaking of our main 2 5-stars. Quincy McAdoo, I think he's a talented player and a damn good athlete, but I'm not going to put him on the level of our other 2 guys. Travis Hunter and Sam McCall are good enough athletes to where even if they have mediocre college careers, they'll find a way in the draft to make an NFL roster, in my opinion. But if you want to maximize your earning potential, if you want to be that first-round pick, you have to pick a position and play it. Now, play them on special teams, that doesn't quite count. But we got to get out of this. We got to be real with ourselves, Florida State fans. These guys are not going to be taking 30 snaps or getting, Travis Hunter isn't going to be playing 30, 40 snaps on offense and 80 snaps on defense or whatever the case might be. I'm not here to say what he should play. I mean, again, me personally, I think he's a DB, but if they get him on campus and he's better at receiver, then so be it. But he has to pick a position. He has to pick a position, and that's just some real talk. We can't sit here and pretend like these guys are going to play both sides of the ball. So yes, Sam McCall can say that Florida State is offering him to play both sides, and that may have been their recruiting pitch, because he said Bama was primarily looking at him on defense. So he obviously has some interest in playing the offensive side of the ball. So that's how Florida State pitched it to him. And I'm not saying Mike Norvell's lying, and I'm not saying they won't draw up a package for Sam McCall and Travis Hunter. They're great problems to have. But I think if I personally was mentoring or giving Sam McCall advice, I'd tell him, you got to pick a position, young man. Because when the NFL looks at you, potential to get you drafted, athleticism to get you drafted, but they want a specialist. They want a guy who specializes and is elite in an area. Let's go to the comments and see what you guys think on that. Dragon says tsunamis are ass. I've never been in a tsunami, but I assume they are ass. Every time you drop them highlight vids, that subscriber count shoots up. Yeah, speaking of that subscriber count, what are we? Where are we at? Matter of fact, let's check it real quick. Last night I checked, I think I was at 932. And shout out to the person who somehow found a way to hit a dislike on this video. Shout out to you, you hater. We're at 933, so we're less than 75. What are we away? My math isn't the greatest. How far are we away from 1,000? That's basic math, but I don't feel like doing it. What is that? 60 is, yeah, that's 67, right? We're 67 away from 1,000. Am I that smart? 42 people may hit the like button. Montre says he didn't see Sam coming. Kane's says straight athletes. I seen a video. Montre says I seen a video of Milton putting 300 pounds of yeah, he was squatting. Let people tell it. He can't run, but the man was squatting 300. I think it was officially Montre. I think it was like 295. I think. Who gives a damn? The man was squatting 295. I think Milton's gonna be fine, guys. Serve says Norvell and company looking like they understand the state of Florida, has something to offer with good recruits. FSU legacy sells itself, POLK, and they are using that. Coming from Priscilla, absolutely. They're telling the DB coach was great. I love the Creative Tribe 2022 photo of all the. I love that too. That's why I used it, man. That's a dope picture. Should Sam McCall play offense or defense? That's my point. I don't know, Derek. But he has to pick a side. He's got to pick a side. Now y'all need to see if the commit sign and not decommit. Thanks, John Shields. Appreciate you. What happened to the linebacker that committed? I hate for him to commit and the coaches tell him no. I think he jumped the gun on that commit Green Bay. I think he jumped the gun on that commit. It pains me to say, but this is exactly how y'all gonna compete on a regular basis, getting these blue chips that I have trick packages, but no way they consistently play a ton of offense. 2021 class has to bring the noise for Norvell to succeed, and if that happens, it's over for the state of Florida. With recruiting, the players will come. The 2021 class serves in a unique position, which is the class that they just recently signed. I don't know if it has to bring the noise. The 2021 class was given a little cushion because of all the transfers they brought in. You bring in a Jermaine Johnson and a Keir Thomas. Well, you're giving George Wilson and Patrick Payton time to grow. They don't have to impact right now. In the future, sure, but they don't need to impact day one. It'd be nice if they can. They don't necessarily need to. Hunter Washington, Omarion Cooper, Kevin Knoll. Well, you sign 3 DBs from the portal. Those guys get a chance to take their time and match and mature and develop. They don't have to compete or contribute right now. Mackenzie Milton, it was huge. I don't think people realize how huge Mackenzie Milton is. Not just because of the potential player he is or was before the injury. He's huge because now we don't have to rush, even though we already did it. So let's hope they're not ruined. But we don't have to rush Purdy out there again. We don't have to rush Rodemaker out there again. And they have somebody to learn the position behind. Somebody who a little bit more cool, calm, and collective. Shout out to James Blackman. I hope he does great over there in Arkansas State. But you get what I'm saying. This class was given a little bit of time. This class is going to be given a little bit of time to breathe. That 2022 class, Hunter's playing day one. You're not going to be able to keep Travis Hunter off the field. You may not be able to keep Sam McCall off the field. If you get Marvin Jones Jr., you're not going to be able to keep him off the field. And that's just 3 of the guys that I named. There's a chance if you pull AJ Duffy, he competes for the job day one. Maybe even Nico. Who knows? The 2022 class has a chance to have loaded play. Armelia, offensive tackle. St. Thomas Aquinas. If you sign him, he's I would almost guarantee he's playing, he's going to compete, if not play, from the jump. He's going to compete with Rod Orr and Robert Scott. One of those guys could get their position taken. That's the caliber of player FSU is in the mix for right now. 2022 class has a chance to be ridiculous. It really does. Greg Bass says, truth. If you build it, they will come. What up, Jay Oliver? He'll get the opportunity to play both sides, but the game will quickly dictate which side to stay on. I like Sam McCall at the nickel. Sam McCall, he came to FSU just for offense and defense. So what happens if we don't give him the snaps on offense that he hopes? Will he transfer? I don't know about this Sam guy. He's a young senior right now. Again, he's not going to play both. I think eventually he will settle on a side. It'd be his best judgment to settle on the side. Because guess what? What's the point of transferring? Because Alabama's already told him, we see you as a defensive player. And I'm pretty sure any elite school is going to tell him, yes, you have ability, but we see you here. I think you're overthinking it, Sniper. I think he's a young kid. He has to make up his mind, but it's not a reason for him to transfer or to say, I don't know about this kid. Maybe he shouldn't be a take because he might leave in the future if we don't do what he wants. I think you're going too far there. Is FSU going after Earl Little Jr. because he nowhere near Miami lock? His own father said that. And Earl Little Sr. played at the U. There's a lot of stuff going on with Earl. I don't think FSU's in the mix there. That thing seems to be an Alabama thing. From what I heard, Manny Diaz ain't even really talking to Earl Little Jr., but this ain't a Miami show, so we don't care. If he's balling out and we're winning, then I don't see why he transfer. I don't see why he transfer either. Right now, we need him on the field. I don't know. It's time for them to be drafted. They are only freshmen. I hear what you're saying, Priscilla, but it's every kid's goal to get drafted, period. The realization is not all of them are, right? But every kid's playing the game to potentially make millions of dollars in the NFL. Sam McCall, Travis Hunter, more than most because they're looked at, even right now, as a senior in high school and a freshman next year, those two type caliber of players are being looked at as future NFL prospects. The game is a lot. Again, this isn't 20, 30 years ago. You can't, you just can't freelance on these teams anymore, so to speak. The game is much more dictated to specialists. Rushing the passer. NFL teams are drafting guys who do nothing but rush the passer. Nothing but play cover 3 zone. Those type of guys. That's just the way the game is kind of played now. 6'7", 6'8". I think you guys were telling me the math. Thank you. Them Nuggets on the tour of duty seeming awfully. Yeah. Shout out to you on that one, Tyler. Look pretty good. I think he hit on pretty much all of them. Doesn't it look like that? Haven't heard too much about Brian Robinson. I'm interested to see what he does in the spring. Speaking of spring, they start practice next week. Not everybody has that mindset, Tyler. Others just think about themselves, but who knows what Sam thinks. Hopefully he's unselfish. Yeah, I think you get in dangerous territory when you start to assume that, this kid's no, we're not going to do that. Do you think we should take 2 running backs? Definitely take, let's think. We're probably not. Maybe Jay Sean would go pro. Even though he didn't lose any eligibility, so he's technically still a sophomore. DJ's still a sophomore. Toafili's still a freshman technically. Numbers-wise, they don't have to take a running back, but I think if you want to raise the competition in that room, I think you should probably take at least one. I think you should take at least 1. 2, I wouldn't be mad at. Glover is a part of that Sam McCall package, both Lake Gibson Braves, my alma mater. So the way I look at it, you get Glover, and Austin's another one from Georgia. Can't be mad at that. Didn't Jabril Peppers play offensive defense? Jabril, but he was mainly a safety. But yeah, he played some offense, I think. How much, I would love to kind of dig into that, but I don't think it was a lot. Have we ever had players that played both sides? I mean, Dion played both sides at times. Crow played both. Antonio Cromartie. Now, I'm not saying at Florida State. I don't think Crow played both sides at FSU. But in the NFL, I remember the Jets would line Crow at receiver sometimes. It happens. I won't necessarily say Carlos played both sides. He switched positions. Once he switched to running back, he didn't play DB anymore. So he didn't necessarily play both sides. He just switched positions. And I don't remember Greg Reed playing any offense. I know he returned kicks and punts. I don't remember him lining up at no receiver or anything like that. The wideouts are a big question coming in. So Sam McCall wants to be used like Charles Woodson was at Michigan and Champ Bailey at Georgia. He wants to play both sides, which I'm not mad at him for wanting to. I just personally, this is my personal opinion. If you guys don't agree with it, you don't have to agree with it. I think you just got to pick a side, man. Again, I'm not saying he can't get drafted. I'm not saying that there's no future in it for him. I just personally believe if you want to maximize your dollars, you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. 50 people in the building. All you guys that are in the building now, you came late. You missed the Freddie Stevenson interview. So go back, watch that. That was awesome. Shout out to Freddie Stevenson again for coming in. As a matter of fact, oh man, I think I might have lost it. Go check out Freddie's book at Trouble. What was it? I lost the link. Somebody put it in the comments. Troublebook.com, right? Strugglemanbook.com or something like that. Just go back in the video and you'll see it. And I'll get somebody to put it in the comment section. But hit the like button, guys. And if you're not subscribed, man, there you go. Trials to Triumph book. I'm so sorry. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep that on the screen. Trials to triumphbook.com. Support Freddie Stevenson, man. Bradley Howell and I took it off that quick. My mind just races. I took it right off the screen. Bradley Howell says, "What's your opinion on Coach Storms? Dude seems to be." Now, look, I'm gonna calm us down a little bit. We're excited. We got a lot of reasons to be excited. But guess what, guys? Everybody in the country's lifting weights at this time. Everybody in the country's got pictures of them lifting weights and all that. But I will say the kids look good. The technique looks good. I like Coach Storms. I like Coach Storms when they hired him. I knew that was a good hire. So we look good there. I'm gonna throw out a conspiracy theory here. And somebody tell me how you feel about it. If you notice these workout videos, I think this is done purposely. If you notice these workout videos, have you guys seen any offensive linemen? Now, I saw Estes lift some weights, and they said he was a strong freshman coming in. Has anybody seen Donta Lucas lift some weights, Love Taylor lift some weights, Maurice Smith? Have we seen that? I think they're doing that purposely. Now, I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know if they're trying to hide some stuff and kind of like reveal it. Boom! Look how we morphed our offensive linemen, and I'm hoping it's a good thing, and they kind of want to shock us with how maybe big or strong these guys have gotten. I hope it's not a bad thing, and they're hiding them because these guys aren't developing how they want them to. But somebody tell me my conspiracy theory is crazy. But I have not seen our offensive line. I mean, I saw Coop benching like 400 pounds. I saw Corbin squatting like damn near 500 pounds. True Thompson was squatting like 500. I've seen pretty much almost all the position groups. We saw Milton squatting weight. I ain't seen no offensive lineman, a position group that I think we would be expecting to see. I haven't seen them, but that's just my little conspiracy theory. I think they're hiding the offensive lineman, man. I think they're hiding the offensive lineman. Irv Gotti says, nope, I saw Chaz Neal's sorry ass standing in the background. Right. I haven't seen any old linemen really lifting any weight. I don't know if they're doing that purposefully or what the deal is. I don't know, man. Greg Bass says, you need to hone your craft and skills at the position. I completely agree. I think if you want to be a top 10 pick, if you're Travis Hunter, and even Sam McCall, even though when I look at Sam, I don't know if he's a top 10 pick right now. Maybe he can grow into that. But Travis Hunter's going to be 6'2". Travis Hunter reminds me of a young Patrick Peterson, man. Now, I don't know if he's going to be 6'2", 220 like Patrick Peterson was. Travis Hunter reminds me of Patrick Peterson. Just the way he is with the ball in his hand. Patrick Peterson was a guy who could play both sides of the ball. But eventually, what was he? A lockdown corner. At one point was probably, if not the best corner in the game. See, Patrick Peterson, unfortunately, he played at a time where that guy Darrelle Revis played. And while I think Darrelle Revis was the best corner in the game, Patrick Peterson was always the most gifted athlete at that position. And that's who Hunter reminds me of. Reminds me of Patrick Peterson. Maiden date in the building was going on. And I keep doing it. I have a habit of clicking everybody's comment, but I'm trying to keep trials2triumphbook.com. Hit that link or go type that in. Go check out. Even if you're not I got some Hurricane fans. Look, if you just like a story of a guy who came from nothing to something, and we can all relate to that, or, we can all relate to that. The underdog story, we can all relate to that, man. Hurricane fan, Gator fan, it doesn't matter. Check out Freddie Stevenson's book. And I'm going to keep shouting out Freddie Stevenson because he blessed us with his interview today. He came on the show, 860, my first interview, so I'm excited about it. As you can tell, I got a whole lot of energy tonight. I was excited about doing my first interview here on 863 Seminole TV, and you see where we are going with this channel. We're not stagnating, guys. We're growing this thing and doing different things. Shout out to everybody in the chat who supports this channel, by the way. All right. T2Y is in the building, and of course, he come in with the hating. But shout out to T2Y. I got all my Hurricane step kids in here. Kane Zay, Miami Dade, and T2Y. They're my step kids. They're my Hurricane step children. Tyler says, main thing I notice is those weightlifting videos is the players seem genuinely to care for. They're having a good time. They're definitely having a good time. There's one player that I'm wanting to have a breakout type of year, even if he doesn't see the field often, and that's Josh Griffiths, big country. Patrick Peterson, great comparison. Bet y'all ain't know Peterson was committed to UM, but he didn't go, so it doesn't matter. But no, I didn't know he was committed to UM. Miko Dotson dad on Twitter was saying everyone must have forgotten that his son led the nation in interceptions. Injuries. The DBs are loaded, bro. I think Brandon Moore is locking down one of those quarterback positions. Transfer from UCF. Miko's got a shot at the other one. He might get it. That corner, we're loaded at DB. Jabril was a Wildcat QB at Michigan at best. And yeah, the Freddie Stevenson interview was dope. Good looking out. Absolutely. Maiden Dade's laughing because he one of my stepchildren. We got a good problem in that DB room. All the positions are up for grabs. I'm excited about the DBs. Me personally, going 4-2-5, right? Me personally, I got Jay and Gant at my two safeties. Although, depending on how they're going to use this nickel, it could be Jay and Jamie Williams at our two safeties with Gant at the nickel. But those three safeties, nickels. I'm interested to see how they use this nickel. Is this nickel going to be used more as an in the box guy? Is he going to be used more as a coverage guy? If he's going to be more of an in the box guy, Brandon Gant's going to be that nickel for me. And I'll keep Jamie at the other safety with Travis. But if you're going to need this nickel to be more of a coverage guy, then swap Gant and Jamie Williams. The two corners are going to be interesting. Because I think Brandon Moore locks one of those down. Do we see true freshman Demore Tate? I mean, he's not really a true freshman, but you guys know. Do we see freshman Demore Tate? He's got the size, the measurables. We're so excited about Travis Hunter and Sam McCall. We forgot that we got a top 30 player at corner already on the team. And Demore Tate, who we didn't get a chance to play last year because he wasn't academically qualified. But he's all, according to Norvell, he's 100% go this year. We forgot we had a guy that caliber. 6'2", 200 pounds. Demore Tate could easily be the pick. So I understand how Miko Dotson's dad feels. Yes, he did lead the league in interceptions. Or lead the nation in interception. But that was at FAU. Miko's in Tallahassee. And he's going up against guys like a Demore Tate. Montre says it. Brownlee. We can't forget Brownlee. And I'm not done. I'm not throwing Akeem Dent away. That dude was too talented. He suffered with some ankle injuries last year. I'm not throwing Akeem Dent away. And I'm going to say this right now. I wasn't high on him last year, but Jerrion Jones isn't just going to lay down. You see the names I'm bringing out here? Jerrion Jones isn't just going to lay down and let these guys pass him up on the depth chart. We got a lot of names in that defensive backfield, guys. We got a lot of names. Tate might have something to say about one of the cornerback positions. That's what I was just talking about, Irv. Come on now, POLK. FSUs, our little bros always have. We was always the big dogs. Children, hush, hush. Children, hush. Jabril Peppers didn't play in the Orange Bowl. Just another reminder. Neither did Derwin. Just another reminder. I remember. You know, Tyler, I remember that was like an excuse for Michigan. Our best player didn't play. Now, granted, we had Dalvin, but it ain't like our best player on defense played. They tend to forget that, though. Watch out! Watch us come out running this 3-3. Yeah, okay. If Adam Fuller wants to make it, he won't do that. Demore Tate will be back in the fold next year. Interested to see what the kid can do. I could see a true freshman. Brown could be the nickel. We still would have beaten Michigan in the Orange Bowl. Brownlee and Brandon Moore or Tate, my two corners. And Polk County is lame. I went up to Orlando for a vacation. Tell me everything is out the way. Polk County, look, man, you ain't gonna come on here disrespecting the crib. Can't. I'm about stepson. Watch it. Don't forget Brownlee. Green Bay says Dent is my guy. Can't forget about Akeem Dent. I think, excuse me. I think in a lot of ways, I think we just expect some of these kids to just lay down. Well, guess what? We're about to find out who's really the dogs. Because there's so much talent, especially in that defensive backfield. If you want to play, if you want snaps, you're going to have to prove that you're a dog. I had to drive 6 miles to the bank. Where were you at, Kane? Where were you at? Got to take back the DBU moniker. Is it even close between Tate, Moore, Brownlee? Tate better start. I mean, but we haven't seen Tate, though. Tate's got all the measurables. Tate is your eye candy. But we have tape on Moore, Brownlee. Jerry Jones, Akeem Dent. Montre says we loaded at D. What about our D line? Do you think? Good point from Jen. Good point from Jen. What's the use of talking about the defensive backfield if we can't get to the passer, folks? Do we have? Now, see, this is the position, and I'm strict. No, actually, no. Let's talk the whole defensive line, because this is the position where we may need. Now, yes, we got Keir Thomas, we got Jermaine Johnson. They'll get the bulk of the snaps, and you obviously still have Robert Cooper, True Thompson, Fabian Lovett. We got solid rotation in the middle. I think 2 solid guys on the end. The problem is the depth. Because behind Jermaine Johnson, behind Keir Thomas, we may need a freshman or 2 to step up. Now you got Josh Griffiths, you got Quayshawn Fuller, you got Derek McClendon, and I thought Derek McClendon played some pretty decent football by the end of last year. So I expect maybe him to make a step, but somebody's got to emerge there. Absolutely. If we can't rush the passer and can't have quality depth where Jermaine Johnson doesn't have to, he's not going to be as effective if he's playing majority of the snaps. Remember, he's coming from Georgia where he didn't play majority of the snaps and still was able to average 5 sacks. Or, excuse me, he got 5 sacks last season. Now, with more snaps, you expect more sacks, but you don't want a guy that's not used to playing a ton of reps. What good is he out there if he's running on fumes in the fourth quarter? He's not doing us any justice. And if a game's close down the stretch, that's where you're going to need him to be his most effective, right? We got to be able to get some depth behind him. Absolutely. A good point from Jen right there. It's show and tell this year with Dent, or he will get lost in the shouts. Now that's true from Irv. Well, I'm not ready to throw Akeem Dent away. This is probably going to be his make or break year. I hate to say it like that because it just is what it is. Because guess what? Next year, Travis Hunter's on campus. Sam McCall's on campus. Who knows if they go after any other DBs this cycle? Actually, I expect them to because I think maybe they view Sam McCall as more of a safety. But Travis Hunter is taking a spot. Travis Hunter is taking a spot as soon as he steps on campus. Point blank, period. This might be the year Akeem needs to step up and show out. Show up, show out, or you could definitely get lost in the sauce. Well, that's why you didn't have nothing. You were in Davenport. Should have went to Lakeland, man. Should have went to Lakeland. That's where you should have went. Our fan base better trust the process. Who do you want to see at QB? I think it's gonna be Milton. I think it's gonna be Milton because it's not that I'm giving up on Jordan Travis. For the offense to be what Norvell and company envision it, we're gonna need to be able to throw the ball. And throw the ball, not just run a go route and throw the ball deep. I'm talking about look safeties off. Throw over the middle of the field. From one hash of the field to the other. Like, tough throws are going to need to be made. And I don't know if Jordan Travis makes those throws. How's Lloyd Willis coming? Again, they've been very quiet with this offensive line group. We don't get to see them lift weights. I haven't heard much about. Now, they don't start practicing till next week, so I'm pretty sure we'll see some offensive line clips once they start practicing for spring. I haven't heard anything, man. What's going on, Dan Squatch? Man, you missed the Freddie Stevenson interview, man. Try again next time, Dan Squatch. You was late. And like T2Y says, man, hit that like button. need you to look at what I tagged you in on Twitter. We got to win the retro logo poll. I'll check that out once I get off here. No, I won't say lame, my bad, but like an inconvenience. John Shields, North Carolina, y'all. Okay, we're not gonna get into it with John. Because John, that's what John does. He comes on here and he wants you guys to get into it with him. I expect Farmer to crack the rotation at defensive tackle. That's fair. Willis is POLK sleeper. That is my sleeper. I'm going to stick with it. I haven't heard nothing. I would love to see a clip of him maybe benching some weight so I can see how strong he is. Again, 6'7", 300 plus. That's an offensive tackle type body. I would love to see Lloyd get on the field if he's able to play, but haven't seen anything. Ready to see TJ Davis. I forgot about Curtis Fan and TJ Davis at defensive end. You're absolutely right, 904. And I feel like Curtis Fan has been on this team for 3-4 years now. Any good tackles in the portal yet? No, Ardavius, not yet. Brownlee needs to play. If they would have shown Willis hitting that 405 2 times, I would be impressed. I'm going to need more from Coop. Man, you crazy. Dan Squatch. Coop hit that. Like, that Coop could have, I don't know how much Coop can max, but he was started to rep that, man. He was repping that. I don't know. I think Coop's strong as hell. But I'm a little guy, Dan Squatch. You're a big guy, so maybe you're not too impressed with that. Word on the street is that Preston Daniels is one of the guys with the black jersey. Just a matter of time before he gets his scholarship. We beat North Carolina. Okay, he's still going at it with John. I'm going to skip the Kane banter because we're not going to go back and forth. Look, guys, we had Freddie Stevenson, former Seminole, on the podcast tonight. We are not going to be going back and forth with John Shields. Let's not do that tonight. Shout out to John Shields. Always appreciate you coming through, man. John Shields is one of the guys who was with me from the beginning. So even though he's a Hurricane, I let him stick around. Where are we at? Where are we at in the comments? Lakeland is probably like Lauderdale. I like the hood POLK. Okay, go to Mulberry then or something like that. Lakeland got its hood spots, but they have built that especially since I've been home. Lakeland is almost a completely different city since I used to live there. They've built Lakeland up a lot, but Lakeland got its spots. It got its spots. Give or take, Jordan Travis gets 5 touches a game. Oh, a game. That's interesting. I'm gonna take it. I gotta take it. A game, yeah, I'll take that. I think they got to get it. 5 touches. That's kind of low. I would expect a little more. So I'll take that. I'll go to over on 5 personally. I'll go to over on 5. Can't say John says let you know what every chat John comes in here and says the same stuff. Don't even really bother me. Everybody just goes at his head as soon as he starts talking. John Shields says, POLK, you started it. Well, first of all, John, I didn't even name you as one of my step kids. That's Miami. That's Maiden Dade, Kane Zay, and T2Y. They my step children. Now, if you want to be one of my step kids, you can. You can. I think you're a little jealous. I got 4 step kids, 4 of my Miami step children, John Shields, T2Y, Maiden Dade, and Kane Zay. There we go. He's out. John Shields was feeling a little left out. Got it. What's going on, Roderick? 405 for a double shouldn't be anything for your nose tackle. Small ball, we had 230 linebackers here, 405 for 5. See, Dan Squash just coming in here with the foolish. I guess I can't lift it, so who am I to say anything, Dan Squatch? Brandon Gate going to be number 5. Yes, he is. Freddie Stevenson was the savior of the Louisville 2014 game. One of the very few times Jimbo called a good play. I should have asked Freddie how he feels about that block on Dalvin. I think actually somebody put it in the chat, but I didn't want to get too sidetracked. And next time I have Freddie on, we'll see if he comes on again. And when he does, I'll let you guys ask Freddie some questions, and we'll pick those questions and have him answer some of those. I wonder how he feels to this day about that block that was called on him. That bad call that everyone knows wasn't a chop block, but you know. POLK, do you honestly see Fuller making it through the season? If Fuller, let's get this out the way with Fuller. For our sake, I hope Fuller makes it through the season. For this 4-2-5, for all the DBs we've brought, for recruiting sake, I hope Fuller makes it through this. And I know you're like, what? He's saying he wants Fuller to make it through the season? Yes, because if he doesn't, now don't get me wrong. If he sucks, we need to fire him. But if he doesn't make it through the season, we're not having the season that we are hoping to have, guys. If we're firing Fuller mid-season, we're struggling to win. We're struggling for a bowl game. Let's just face the facts. Freddie said it in his interview. We have to find a way this year to beat one of those three teams: Clemson, Miami, Florida. We got to beat one of those three teams. Well, guess what? If we're firing Fuller mid-season, I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. So I pray to the almighty deities, whatever deity you believe in, pray to that person or entity that Fuller makes it through the season. Because if he doesn't, we're not going to have the team we want, and that recruiting class that has a chance to be oh so special may not finish the way we want it to. And that's just the hard, cold truth. Who's our ace recruiter? Our ace recruiter is looking like Mike Woodson, man. Our ace recruiter is looking like Mike Woodson. Am I lying? He's got 2 5-stars under his belt. And McCall and Hunter. So that's why I put my money on Mike. Now, Coach Yak hasn't, and for this cycle, like last cycle, I think it was Coach Yak. Coach Yak got all that Louisiana talent. Byron Turner, Destin Hill. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but maybe I'm not. But Coach Yak was the guy last year. This year is Mike Woodson. Hold on, I don't want to breathe in the mic. This year is Mike Woodson. And Kenny Dillingham has a chance to be our ace recruiter. If he gets Nico and AJ Duffy, or Nico and MJ Morris, whew, watch out there. John Seals says, thank you. You're welcome. Also, by the way, Chubby Purdy is good to go. Oh, that's good. That's good to see that Purdy's healthy. So we'll see him hopefully we get to see him in that spring game. Like, I legit watched the clip 4 or 5 times to be sure I counted the plates right. I'm damn sure explains why our D-line playing 2 yards on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage. Damn Squatch. Shh. We're trying to have fun here tonight. All the excuses will be good, though. I don't see us beating Miami, Clemson, or Florida with Fuller at DC. Well, if that's the case, no-blooded. If we can't beat either, then I guess we're giving up on the season. If we're looking at this team right now before we've seen Adam Fuller's revamped defense with his revamped players, and we're going to go into the year saying, well, we're not going to beat Miami, Florida, or Clemson, I guess we're giving up on the season. Because we have to beat one of those three. I mean, just from a realistic, you can't think that we're going to lose those 3 teams and then beat everybody else on the schedule. I could see them beating Florida. They lost a lot on offense and defense. I love the nickel and bear formations on NCAA football. Almost never run more than 2 linebackers. JP looking super solid as a recruiter as well. He's more of a sleeper. Doesn't make a lot of noise. Well, he's got 2 pretty decent commits too. Aaron Hester and Nigelique Kelly. Speaking of Kelly, his mom says his recruitment's still open. Now he's committed. She confirmed that he's committed, and she put this on Twitter. I follow his mother and him on Twitter, by the way. But she put this on Twitter. She says Florida State is allowed to recruit other players at his position. I'm summing up what she said, but this is essentially what she said, not verbatim, but this is basically what she was getting at. She said Florida State is able to continue to recruit other players. Why isn't my son able to keep his recruitment open? Yes, he is committed, but we are still available, essentially. And I don't blame her. Nothing wrong with keeping your options open. But he is still officially committed. But just something to look out there. Mom said it, and if mom says it, I'm taking it to the bank. Now, Najee Kelly, and this all started because a reporter or whoever asked him this, I don't know if this guy was a legit reporter or who this guy was, but the clip they showed of Kelly, he was listing off a list of schools, and they tweeted it out as if Kelly was saying, these are my top schools. Najee Kelly says, no. That interview was spun, or it didn't show the whole thing. I was naming schools that are still in contact with me and text me like every day or every other day. He says he's committed to Florida State. These are the schools that still contact me. That's what he was saying. That reporter or whoever he was tried to spin it as if he was saying that those were his top schools. His mother came and said he is committed, but they are still open. So mama says one thing, Kelly says another thing. I'll take mama word for it. If mama say he's still looking, then he's still looking, and I got no problem with it. But if you're on Twitter, stop tweeting these kids, you grown men, about a kid making a decision for college. You guys look like clowns. Half of y'all probably didn't even go to a college. You look like a clown telling a kid that kid has all the right in the world to take his time and choose the best university for him. Would we love him to be a Seminole? You're on 863 Seminole TV. Of course we want that young man to be a Seminole. But you're 50 years old and you're texting or tweeting him that he's an idiot or that he... Come on, clown. Think about that for a second. Anyway. Dancewell says, I'm chilling, man. Just open my eyes to a lot real quick. I always love you coming through, Dan Squatch. Roderick says, POLK, I hate to sound like a Debbie Downer. Uh-oh. But Fuller's effing holding us back. Let's call it like we see it. But I sure pray to football gods I'm wrong. Roderick, you're not wrong. I've been calling for Fuller's job. Somebody tell me in the comments. Especially if you've been here, been with me from the jump. Have I not been calling for Fuller's job? I don't know, since Jacksonville State. I was calling for Fuller's job before the Louisville game happened. Before Pitt happened. Come on. I've been calling for Fuller's job forever. Once I saw what I saw at Jacksonville State, I was calling for Fuller's job. Georgia Tech, I didn't quite jump the gun there. Miami, I didn't quite jump the gun there. Once Jacksonville State happened, I said, okay, he's got to go. He's got to go. So I agree with you. All I'm saying is, if we want to have the season we want to have, that we're hoping to have, praying to have, sacrificing a goat to have, guess what? I think if we're firing Fuller mid-season, I think that tells you everything that needs to be told. I just don't think it's a good look if you're making that move mid-season, man. I just think it shows the state of the team. If you tell me right now in March, Adam Fuller gets fired during the season, then I'm gonna tell you FSU might be lucky to win 6 games. Green Bay says I was paraphrasing. Ty says, then you got a grown man tweeting at Nigel Cunningham's mom saying we should pull the Scott. People are dumb, Tyler. People are idiots, man. Everybody, hold on. Chat jumped on me. Hold on a second, guys. Everybody going to be giving out PSN with NCAA. Man, speaking of that, Walmart had PS5s available, and every 10 minutes, you couldn't even get one in the cart. I may never get one because I'll be damned if I pay one of these resellers $700. I'm not doing it. If I can't buy that thing retail price, I'm not going to. I may never have a PS5. What's up, Panama? There's a reason I don't use Twitter. Twitter's a good app, man. I mean, it's entertaining. Twitter's an entertaining app. Don't get me wrong. You get some crazy takes on there. But FSU Twitter, I wouldn't trade FSU Twitter for nothing. It's entertaining as hell. Some of the takes are god awful, but they are funny. And you also get some pretty good content on there as well. I like it. Now, of course, when you get grown men tweeting at people, that's the ugly side of Twitter. But, going at his mother is beyond disgusting. Real life weirdos. Absolutely. We don't need another kid's mom popping off her mouth on Twitter like Warren Thompson mom. We don't need that. So let me get some context to you, Irv. She had an issue with people attacking her son. She had an issue with the way the interview was shown. Her issue wasn't to come out and say, our recruitment's still open. Her issue was it was presented in a way as if he was saying he listed like Penn State. He listed a bunch of schools, and it was presented in a way where he was saying, I'm not committed. These are my top schools. She wanted to make it clear that he is committed, but he is exploring his options. I don't have a problem with the mom defending her son. Now, I do get what you're saying. But that Warren Thompson stuff, I don't know. I get what you're saying, though. I don't think this is that. This isn't that, though. I never understand that. A kid gonna make his decision. Texting a guy saying, ooh, why you not coming here? You look like a fool. What do she mean? That's what teams do. They got to get depth at position, woman. Jalen says since day one. Yeah, Jalen been down since day one, too. Same thing with McCall in his interview. He said Alabama, Florida State were recruiting him the hardest, and he liked FSU the most because he wants to play both sides. He did. Yeah, that's what he said. You've been mad at Fuller for months and months. For months and months. Tell him I've been mad at Fuller for ever. Hell yeah, I'm mad at Fuller. He sucks. Jacksonville State game. See, Peter Shields tell you that Jacksonville State game was when I was done. He says, yes, you have been calling for Fuller's job. West Duval, no. What's good? Thank you, man. Thank you. Keep Fuller. Okay, John. John Shields says, Kane say keep Fuller. No Blooded says, we are lucky to beat Notre Dame. See, I disagree. Again, this is all going to come down to that defense and some other things, but I think Notre Dame is vulnerable game one. They're breaking in a new quarterback. They're going to be breaking in pretty much an entire new offensive line. Some of their top defensive players went to the NFL. I think you're catching Notre Dame at a vulnerable time. If you're going to beat them, or if you're going to play a team like Notre Dame after coming off the season we just had, the first game is when you want them. We'll have the most experienced quarterback on the field. I mean, I think we're playing Notre Dame at a good time. I don't think luck has anything to do with it if we beat that team. I really don't. I think you're catching them when you need to at the perfect time. I'm very optimistic about that Notre Dame game. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That Notre Dame game personally is going to tell me a lot of stuff. That's all I'm going to say. OP Paul can't do the Twitter and TikTok element. I rely on y'all for that. Twitter is good. I don't do TikTok myself. But Twitter's good stuff. Kane's Twitter isn't for the faint of heart. Neither is FSU Twitter, man. And Green Bay's in there. I think Montre's in there as well. There's a couple guys in here who I met on Kane. I mean, on FSU Twitter. They'll tell you, man, FSU Twitter is not for the faint of heart either. They go in. What's going on with Malcolm Ray? He's been a sleeper it seems like he's been a sleeper for 2 years as well. But we'll see. We'll see if Malcolm Ray can. That's another guy on that defensive tackle rotation. If he can crack the rotation. From what I'm gathering, I know pretty much for fact-ish. You got Coop, Lovett, and True Thompson are going to be your main three. Now, who gets that fourth spot? Maybe it's a Malcolm Ray. We would love for it to be a Malcolm Ray. But like Tyler said before, Joshua Farmer may overtake some of those guys. May overtake the Louisville transfer, Jarrett Jackson, Malcolm Ray. You know, Joshua Farmer, man, he's coming in with his lunch pail and his hard hat, and that kid is working hard. Bots are getting so bad with all the new releases. Personally, I think, the bots, man, I agree. The bots are so terrible, and nobody's doing nothing about it. And these guys are able to buy 100 PS5, stack them in their living room, and sell them at $800 and $1,000 a pop, and nobody's doing it. Speaking of that, did y'all hear the story of the Nike CEO or whatever also owning a place that resells sneakers? Did y'all see that story? There needs to be laws passed on this stuff. Resellers, I hate them. That's why I refuse to get a PS5. If I can't buy it, if I can't go to Walmart, if I can't go to GameStop or Target and pick me a PS5 off the shelf, I just won't have one because I'm not paying $700 for no console. Not when it's only worth $399 and $499. You're not doing it. I know I got some buddies that's done it, but I'm not doing it. PS4 working just good. So, PS4 still pushing out games for me. So I'm good. Don't buy video games or consoles until they public beta is over. The game is actually fixed and the console actually has games exclusives for it. Got a Wii when they were rare, not really worth it. Y'all be forgetting that these people are someone's kid. Imagine your kid getting harassed by 50-year-olds. You're going to sit back and shut up? Exactly, Green Bay. Exactly. Considering we only won 3 games, we're killing it with the 2022, 2023, and 2024. Those other 2 classes, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves with 23 and 24, especially 24. 23's got some good kids in it too. 2022, they're on fire. Every time I look on YouTube, there's a new commitment. Can't wait to see what we do. Like I told POLK the other night, if y'all can get at least 7 wins in a bowl, y'all will finish with the top class. That's coming from a Canes fan. We're just, it jumped on me. Hold on. We're just a mediocre defense away from beating Notre Dame last year. Agreed. Kane Doe left. Yes, Jalen, Kane Doe left. If that defense was average, we beat them last year. I really think we can catch Notre Dame. Looking past us, week 1, always freaky. Look at Georgia Tech game. They didn't play like the rest of the year. Their spirit wasn't broken yet. We looked past Georgia Tech. We looked past that game. I didn't think that game would be particularly close. But that's because I believed all the hype. I believed that our defensive line was going to be dominant. I thought Jeff Sims was going to be running for his life. We looked past that Georgia Tech game. The problem is this team still comes out here and they still have this on their helmet. No team's looking past this. I say it all the time. That logo carries weight. That logo carries weight. And when you line up across that, then you know what comes with it. No team's looking past that. Notre Dame's not looking past that. No matter how bad we think FSU is, Notre Dame's not looking past that. If we can't beat Notre Dame with a Wisconsin transfer QB starting for them, I'm going to be pissed. I think we're going to catch Notre Dame at a good time, and I'm pretty confident in that game. I forgot about Briggs. Yes, I forgot all about Briggs. So yeah, your top 4: Briggs, True Thompson, Lovett, and Coop. So we got good depth at D tackle. I forgot all about Briggs. Thank you, Dan Squatch. These Kane fans are funny. Coming from Peter Shields. Sony and Microsoft sell consoles at a loss and make all their money from their game sales. Yes, they do. Well, actually, Microsoft's making all their money. So Microsoft has this subscription where you pay like $9.99 a month or something, but then you get games for free. Like not old games, but like new release games. And that business model has been working for Microsoft very recently. Sony, of course, has their exclusives. Sony has those good games like the God of Wars and all that. But yep, well, when you have these consoles sitting in garages, nobody's going to buy games. Companies will want legislation. I hope it happens. I hope it happens. Where did Kalen? Hold on. Where did Kalen LeBourne end up at? I don't think he ended up anywhere. I haven't seen. I don't think he ended up anywhere. Bishop Thomas was just Cristobal, the FSU Orlando kid. He's not rated yet. Is that 2022 or what year is that, Irv? Why isn't anyone talking about Jarvis Brownlee? We talked about him. I think Brownlee's in there. Brownlee. Who's the other kid, man? Oh, man. Who's the other kid? Brownlee. Wow, I really forgot his name. Who's the other? He plays more safety. Brownlee, and then there's Anyway, it'll come to me. Again, the DBs are loaded. I'm ready for that college. Everybody ready for that college game. Yeah, at least one. Santi should have took at least one of those pick sixes back. His returns were bad. That's the reason you need legislation. The middlemen have no reason to change. They're moving with so many consoles. Laws are the only thing that can change this market. I agree with Tyler, man. Something's got to be done. Agreed. No one is looking past that spear, regardless of our record. They still want to beat FSU. Game Pass. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. I still like the old helmets, the old face logo. We need some throwback jersey games. I feel like that would attract rural recruits more, but I don't know. Some kids really like these loud uniforms. Okay, he's 2022. Community college in Kansas. Laybourne. So Laybourne's at a community college in Kansas. Interesting. Laybourne, that was one of those players you guys saw. I asked Freddie Stevenson if he thought it was more of Norvell kicking kids out or kids leaving. Laybourne was a no. And Norvell decided to try to make a point with Kalen LeBourne. And I think maybe that backfired on him with some of those players. Ronaldo Green, that's who I was talking about, Jalen the King. Thank you. I couldn't think of Ronaldo's Green name to save the life of me. But Ronaldo Green is going to be in that mix at that safety position. I don't know why I couldn't think of Ronaldo Green. I couldn't think of his name, but that's exactly who I was talking about. Ardavia says, yep, now Ronaldo Green, we got to win at least 7 or 8 games to think we'll be okay. We're recruiting. By the way, did you see the video of Milton squatting without his knee brace? There you go, golf. Said the same thing. I think Milton's going to be fine. And I agree with you. I said it. 7 games. Listen, it's going to be amazing to see how one game makes a difference. But here, my prediction is 7 games gives us a top 15 to top 10 class. If you win that 8th game, if you win 8 games with a chance to win 9 in the bowl, top 5. You heard it here first. I think it's going to be top 5. If we go into a bowl game with 8 games with a chance to win 9, I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm just saying. Sidney Williams, Green McKnight, those weren't the guys I was thinking of. I was thinking of Ronaldo. But those are also guys that safety position who can play. I don't know what's up with Green McKnight. Interesting to see if he makes a splash this year. What would you feel about something in the turquoise one unis, maybe not as loud as the basketball ones? I know this Native American heritage with the turquoise ones, and the basketball team seems to be able to pull them off. I just don't know, man. And again, this is me being the old traditionalist. Like, If I could find a flag with the old logo on it, that'd be behind me instead of that one. So you're looking at a traditionalist. Again, this is my helmet. I'm not really a fan of this one. I'd rather have all blacks. Now, the all black ones I like. Not fan of this one. I don't know. Could you wear the turquoise with a gold helmet? Or would they have the... maybe the turquoise and the white helmet? I don't know. I maybe it would grow on me. I don't know. Call me a stick in the mud when it comes to the unis and the helmet. I just think the look is so... I hate it when they had the numbers. No, the gold numbers don't win you any games. I'm not saying it does. I just think our uniform and our look is so iconic and clean to me. And when you start doing all these other things, we kind of... But I get it. And maybe the turquoise ones would grow on me. Man, we got the bodies all over the defense. It comes down to who's locked in, who's been working. Coop on 405 ain't been working. Everybody do that. We're supposed to be straight. Dan Squat stuck on 405. But fair enough. Non-fundable tokens. The entire video game industry is transitioning to blockchain. I've bought... You talking about Bitcoins and stuff like that? Or crypto? Talking about the cryptos? I'm investing in a little bit of crypto myself. I'm getting into that. Milton has a chip on his shoulder. As long as he don't have a chip on his knee, we good. Green Bay sucks as we're going 12-0. Don't do that. I really like Sidney Williams. Can True really be that much better than Malcolm Ray? Because Ray really has the measurables. We'll see. I mean, Ray ain't seen the field, so we'll see. Turquoise would have to be a fringe. That's accent color. It just doesn't look good with the garnet or gold. That's what I'm saying. I feel like if you rock the turquoise, then you're going to have to change the helmet up, right? You can't rock that in a gold helmet. And do you just go with the white helmet? Do you go with a turquoise helmet? Now I think you're doing too much turquoise. I don't know, man. I don't know. FSU versus Notre Dame at a home or away game. That should be a home game. That's a home game for us. That's a home game. Starting the season, home game for us. Them jerseys ugly as hell. I don't really like them either, but again, I know the significance of them. So, but I don't like them myself. But I personally wish they would go back to the old logo. I'm more traditional. This white and gold and garnet and gold. I hope the football team plays as good as the basketball team. We'll see, Bradley. We'll see. That's asking a lot because this basketball team, I think, is one of the better teams in the country. The white FSU helmets look raw. I wonder if Kalen is going to Independence. That's the team that was on the Last Chance U. Heck no on the turquoise. I still don't like the new unis that we have now. I'm kind of with you on that, Irv. And we haven't been the same since bring back the Warwick Dunn unis. I'm fine with changing the unis around, but I wish we could go back to the old logo in the actual garnet. Absolutely. Big home game, must win in my eyes. A must win is tough, but I understand where you're coming from. Again, you got them at home. They're breaking in a new quarterback, new O-line, new defensive players. You're right. Again, I think we favor very well in this game. I'm very confident in this game, very optimistic about that Notre Dame game week 1. A must win is kind of tough. I mean, if you go out there and you lose 24-27 to Notre Dame, that's a vast improvement. So I won't say it's a must win, and I don't want to say, we're taking the words lose me right now, but saying that we taking what am I trying to say? The words are losing me right now, but basically like a loss that we're counting as a win, but it's a loss. God damn it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Talking too fast, you forget what you're trying to say. Irv laughing at the chip knee comment. For real, you can have a chip on his shoulder all he wants. As long as we don't have a chip knee, man, we good. What color? No backpacks, John. Stop it. Son. Stop. Any recruits who weren't looking at FSU now giving FSU a second look. Don't know about that, Mayan King. I think we get Glover. I think we get Glover too. I think Glover wants to play with McCall. Him and McCall are like this. I think we'll eventually get Glover. AJ Duffy should be announcing within the next month, I believe, right? I'm literally looking forward to the offensive line. I want to see how it's improved myself. I can't wait till next week and we start seeing some practicing. And I can't wait till April 10th so I can, again, the spring game doesn't mean much, but I'm excited to at least see how they look with a full off-season camp, spring camp, Torah duty, spring camp, spring game. I'm interested to see it. How y'all beat the dog out of them. I hope y'all beat the dog S out of them leprechauns. I'm with you on Glover. Question is, you taking one or two? One for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they took two, but one for sure. If they're only taking one, I don't know if Glover's the one they take. FSU needs to pull 2020 Tampa Bay and bring back the old style. Unis turquoise isn't intimidating. Just need to be very competitive game one. You'll be able to get a PS5 off shelf in April. I hope so. I don't know what Norvell and his staff is pitching. Where's everyone's top schools? Haven't seen that since Jimbo days. I agree. We're like in everybody's top three. It seems like Glover showed up at school decked out in FSU stuff. I saw that video. He had the FSU stuff on. I saw that video, Tyler. He's a lock if we want him, and we should. His tape is better than his rank, and that's what I'm saying. If they only are taking one, I don't know if Glover's a take right now. They might set their eyes big, but if we're taking two, for sure, take Glover in another. I think you take Glover right now. The spring game is on my birthday. Yeah, my birthday's the 11th, so the spring game is the day after mine. Duffy is the 31st. Okay, we get that low angle quick cut film. I'm gonna flip the table. Only way you could do the turquoise is mostly all black with accents. And yeah, I just don't know a way they could pull off the turquoise with the football. And Wiltfong said people said Wiltfong was crazy. So we're going to close on this one because we're hitting 2 hours. By the way, I haven't even plugged this. Catch me on Podbean and Spotify, guys. Remember, if you don't catch this show here live, you can always catch me on Podbean and Spotify. This will be downloaded to those platforms after we go off the air here. 50 people, by the way, in here, so hit the like button. But catch me on Podbean and Spotify. If you're driving, can't put on the YouTube app, whatever, go on those platforms and support me on those platforms as well. I'm going to close off with this. Green Bay brought it up. They ranked the 247 ranked the best recruiters in the state of Florida, and it was Manny Diaz, Gus Malzahn. I forget who was third. I think Mike Norvell was fourth. I forget if he was third or fourth. I know it was Manny and Gus at the top. Wiltfong is the guy who's been preaching toting the Mike Norvell horn. He says Mike Norvell is the best recruiter in the state. He doesn't quite think it's close. And I think you're starting to see that. I think you're kind of starting to see that. Mike Norvell's recruiting his ass off, guys. But anyway, shout out to everybody in the chat. This was maybe the best episode I've ever done. And I just say that because we had former Florida State running back, 2013 national champion, former NFL player, Freddie Stevenson on the show today. And again, I just thank him so much for coming through. Tyler, if you can, real quick, drop that link for Freddie's book again. I should have copied and pasted is what I should have did. I should have copied and pasted. Trouble Man book. There it is right there. I keep messing up the name. I'm so sorry, Freddie. But there it is, man. Trials to Triumph book. Whoops, took it off. So go support Freddie Stevenson, man. Go buy his book. Let's check out his story. But this was probably the best show I've done. I had a blast doing this one. Thanks to everybody who showed up and showed out. Going on 2 hours, so we're going to cut it off. Catch this on Podbean or Spotify. Shout out to Seminole Nation. Shout out to the Florida State family. And that 863 tribe is coming along, baby. The 863 tribe is almost at 1,000 right now. We currently sit at 934. If you're not subscribed, first of all, if you're a Florida State fan and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? This is the #1 spot on YouTube. No disrespect to War Chant. Look, War Chant's the biggest. Those are the guys. I'm just a guy on the internet that talks football. I'm not paid to do that like they are. When I say I'm the #1 spot, I'm the #1 normal guy who sits on the internet and just rambles. This is the #1 spot for Florida State on YouTube. Trouble Man book. There you go. Stay classy, Seminoles. Shout out to my step cheering them Canes fans. But stay classy. It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Lo, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. And we got you. Go Noles. But real quick, before I head out. Tomorrow, I'm going live tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going live. I don't know if Jurgen and Terrence are still in the chat. Tomorrow, we're going live. I got a Cane fan. I got an FSU fan. Florida State, all time, versus Miami, all time. They're going to pick their teams, and we're going to determine who wins that game. That's what I'm going to close off with. Almost forgot about that. So tomorrow, we're back here again tomorrow night. So show up and show out like we did tonight. Should be fun. All-time Canes versus all-time Noles. But all right, go Noles. Stay classy. We at you. I will catch you guys tomorrow.